I took care of my dying mother-in-law while her children did nothing. She left me everything. Now my husband and his siblings demand I share or face divorce. This is the story of how my mother-in-law's final act of defiance shattered my marriage and tore a family apart, all because of a will no one saw coming. It was a moment that exposed the bitter truth about love, loyalty, and the sheer, brutal power of money. Let me take you back. My mother-in-law, Sharon, was an incredible woman. She had 4 kids, my husband Nate, his older brother Jacob, and the twins, Zoe and Becky. Their dad died young, and Sharon didn't just raise them all by herself. She took over his company and built an empire. I always admired her strength, and we had this amazing connection. Then, about 6 months ago, everything changed. Brain cancer. Advanced stages. It was a punch to the gut. By the time we found out, it was already too late. Everyone was devastated, but when it came down to who would actually be there for her, who would move 2 states away to care for her, it was just me. Nate wasn't happy. Not at all. Our marriage was already on shaky ground, and this move felt like another seismic shift we didn't need. We argued for weeks. He insisted he couldn't abandon his job, that his siblings could help. But honestly, they didn't seem to care much either. At least Nate and I lived out of state, so he had some kind of an excuse. I reminded him he traveled for work constantly. He wouldn't even notice I was gone. Eventually, he grudgingly agreed. I spent months with Sharon, being her companion, her emotional support. She had a nurse during the day, but at night, I was there. And I didn't do it because I expected anything. My own mother died of cancer when I was 16. I knew what it felt like to lose someone you adored, and I just wanted to be there for Sharon, truly be there. But her kids? Nate visited a couple of times, but Jacob, Zoe, and Becky? They barely showed up. And when they did, it felt like they were just ticking a box, rushing through their obligatory visits so they could get back to their normal lives. It was strange, unsettling. It felt like duty, not love. Her health worsened, as expected, but it was still incredibly hard. 2 weeks ago, after some particularly rough days, Sharon passed away. I organized the funeral with Nate, who, to his credit, was there during her final days and the immediate aftermath. 3 days after the funeral, with the whole family still gathered, Sharon's lawyer called us together. He said she'd emailed the will details to everyone and was explaining it in person. I wish he hadn't. Because in that room, it was revealed, Sharon had left her entire estate to me. Her company, her house, all her jewelry, all her investments, all the money left after medical expenses. Everything. To me. The shock in that room was palpable. A stunned silence for what felt like an eternity, then all hell broke loose. Jacob, Zoe, and Becky exploded. Unfair. How could she? I couldn't bear to listen. I just walked out. They stayed in Sharon's study for another half hour, their voices raised, including Nate's. I didn't want to know what they were saying. I just knew it couldn't be good. Eventually, they stormed out without a word to me. Finally, Nate came to me. He looked shocked too, but at first, he tried to be nice. He said I deserved it, that I was the only one who'd been by her side. I thought, okay, maybe he gets it. Maybe he's different, but then, the mask slipped. He told me that despite everything, it was weird his mother had left everything to me. He talked to his siblings, and they all agreed. To make things fair, I needed to split it all, equally, with them. I was floored. He just casually announced this, as if I had no say. As if it was already decided among them. I told him, look, the will's in probate for a couple of months. When I actually inherit it, I'll think about it. But I'm not promising anything right now. That was it. That's all it took. He snapped. He started screaming, calling me selfish, telling me I had no right to snatch away what rightfully belonged to him and his siblings. Snatch away what rightfully belonged to them. No, that was Sharon's decision, and she had clearly made it. I wasn't snatching anything. I fought back, and soon, we were in a full-blown shouting match. Our marriage had been in trouble for years, honestly. Part of the reason I wanted to move in with Sharon was to get some space from him. The main issue was kids. He wanted them, I wasn't ready. His job meant constant travel, so I knew I would be the primary caregiver, alone, without family nearby. I couldn't afford to quit my job, we needed the money, and I refused to give up my financial independence. He'd argue about biology, I'd argue about him needing to be present. He'd say we needed money, I'd say my work-from-home job still was a job. We just went in circles, building resentment. But we always tried to make it work, somehow. Until now. Until he called me selfish. Until he threatened to leave me if I didn't share the inheritance. Your decision will definitely affect our marriage, he warned. Think twice. I looked him dead in the eyes and said, I don't care what you or your siblings think of me. He got furious, stormed out, and we haven't spoken since. It's been over a week. Jacob, Zoe, and Becky have dropped by Sharon's house a couple of times, trying to convince me. I just keep telling them I'll think about it because I refuse to commit to something I'm not ready for. I do feel selfish, I won't lie. My own dad thinks they're not wrong for expecting me to share. But here's the thing, Sharon's kids never deserved her. When she was sick, I was the only one consistently there, out of love and admiration. They were disinterested. And now she's left everything to me. It doesn't feel unfair. Not to me. I'm leaning towards keeping it all. It's a lot of money, enough to finally start my own company, something I've dreamed of for years. I can quit my job, dive into my business model. I know Nate and his siblings will be furious, but honestly, that's their problem, not mine. And Nate? I'm thinking about leaving him. I've tried so hard to make our marriage work. But he doesn't care about me. Things aren't just changed, there's no spark, no hard work from his side. If he'd been polite, if he'd just asked nicely, I might have considered sharing some of it with him. But his entitlement, his demanding tone, it was unforgivable. This wasn't his money, it was Sharon's and her decision. She clearly felt closer to me than to her own children, and that stings him. The constant arguments about kids were exhausting. He thinks because I work from home, I'm just free to take care of a baby. He dismisses my career, his job always more important. I've told him I want a baby, but I need his commitment, his partnership. He just calls me overreacting or making excuses. Our fights would always end with him leaving, then coming back, sweeping it all under the rug until the next argument. It's a toxic cycle. After his threat, I just don't think he loves or respects me anymore. How can I stay with someone like that? After reading my own post, it hit me how truly alone I've been. I can't stay in this marriage for my own sake. So, I've made up my mind. I'm filing for divorce. And as for the inheritance? Too bad for them. It's mine. I don't feel guilty. I was there for her. They weren't. I texted them all in the family group. I've made my decision. I'm not sharing the inheritance. The flood of angry messages was immediate. They called me every name under the sun, selfish, unacceptable, threatening to take me to court. Nate said nothing. I told them to go ahead, I didn't care. I wouldn't share. Then, they kicked me out of the group. I know Sharon would hate what they're doing. Her kids, sadly, inherited none of her good qualities. My lawyer is already on board, ready to represent me if they try to contest the will. She's also putting me in touch with a divorce attorney. This isn't happy, but I see no other way out. A couple of days ago, I filed for divorce. Nate finally contacted me a few days before that, asking if I really intended to never speak to him again. Even now, he thought he was the victim. I was the one he abandoned after our last fight, yet he blamed me. I called him. I told him I was done. I was sick of fighting, tired of waiting for him to understand. He only cared about his own troubles. He started yelling, calling me overdramatic, saying I was just bluffing for an apology, pretending to be a victim. He didn't care for my theatrics. I had to stop him, to make it clear, I was serious about the divorce. I'd never talked about divorce before, no matter how bad our fights got. The silence on the other end was deafening. Then he said he should have seen this coming, that it was bound to happen. When I asked him what he meant, he accused me of leaving him because of the inheritance. I was beyond shocked. Our relationship was never about money. My tears started falling. I couldn't believe the man I loved was saying such things. And even as I cried, he told me he had no sympathy for me, that I'd become a horrible human being, and he regretted marrying me. That was it. I lashed out, my voice shaking. I'm not the one who changed because of money, Nate. You are. You're just jealous your own mother chose me to inherit everything. And you can't deal with the fact that I don't owe you anything. So go ahead, pretend I'm the bad guy. But deep down, you know I'm entitled to do whatever I want. And you know I'm not divorcing you for the money. I'm divorcing you because of how you've been acting. I told him if he regretted marrying me so much, this divorce was just giving him a chance to fix his mistakes. Then I hung up. And I blocked him. It broke my heart. I never knew he had such an ugly side. I don't care anymore if people think the timing of my divorce is suspicious, or what his siblings will say. My family won't judge me. But his? They'll try to spin it. I'm mentally prepared. Because the truth is, they didn't care about their mother when she was alive. Now that she's gone, all they care about is money. It's pathetic. Nate was served with the divorce papers recently. Of course, he told his siblings. For 2 days, my inbox was flooded with hateful messages. It's funny, they barely spoke before all this. Now, they're a united front, a mob, ganging up on me. I blocked them all. I'm still in Sharon's house, which worries me because they know where I live. I'm putting in extra security. I wouldn't put it past them to show up. But if they try anything, my lawyer is ready. I'm emotionally drained, but I'll deal with it. Thankfully, my dad and a couple of good friends are standing by me. I'm just grateful to have anyone in my corner when everyone else has turned against me, just because I refuse to be a doormat. It's been months since my last update. So much has happened. The divorce mediation is done, and it should be final in about 3 months. Nate tried to get a piece of the inheritance during the divorce, but my lawyer and I shut that down. He still hates me, I'm sure, but it doesn't matter anymore. I'm learning to let go. He stopped loving me a long time ago. I was just the last one holding on. I've officially moved into Sharon's house. I've resigned from my job, and next year, I'm launching my business. I'm crossing my fingers, hoping things go well. Nate's siblings did try to contest the will. But the rest of Sharon's family, her cousins and aunts who actually visited her and saw me there, talked sense into them. They'd heard the siblings trying to paint me as a manipulative gold digger, claiming I wasn't even really taking care of Sharon because she had a nurse. But the family knew the truth. They'd seen me there. They defended me, gave the siblings an earful, apparently even brought them to tears. That's what stopped them from pushing the will contest too far. I'm so grateful because I couldn't have handled a full-blown court battle on top of the divorce. Things have worked out. I'm finally moving forward. I'm focusing on my future. A future I'm building for myself, with the legacy of a woman who chose me over her own ungrateful children. This isn't just money, it's a new beginning.